A fast rise, a sudden shift, a franchise that wasn't sure what it had, and another that believed without hesitation. We dig into the gamble, the doubt, and the thin line between being labeled done and becoming something far more enduring. Along the way, the numbers pile up, but the real story lives in the locker room, in the way teammates talk, and in the quiet weight of unfinished business. Welcome to the Trade Rewind. Let's get into it. We made it to the 10th episode. Been consistent, one a week.
No complaints from
Yeah.
all double-digit listeners. Please,
Thank you for listening.
thank you.
All 25 of our closest family and friends who listen, we appreciate it.
Yeah, maybe tell a couple of friends. Let's see if we can, get to like 30.
Yeah, anyone you know. All right, here we go. This guy was born in Detroit, Michigan in 1972. That's where my parents live now. It's a cool place. He comes from a very close family. He said there's lots of love in the house. He didn't realize he was poor until he left Michigan. He was like, yeah, like we're doing fine. And then he realized he's like, oh, my dad got a 30-year mortgage on like a $26,000 house. Like, we're poor. He didn't start playing football until high school because he loved bowling.
Bowling.
Bowling was his main thing.
Wow.
Which is very funny. And then when he was going into high school, he was the youngest. And he was like, if college goes anything like the rest of my life, I'm only going to get the hand-me-downs. So there's going to be nothing left for me financially to go to college. So if I want to go to college, I'm going to have to play football. And some coaches had seen him playing with his friends and they were like, you should play football. So he starts playing football. The story is that he walks into his coach's office and he's like 5'11", 240 as a 14-year-old. And he's like, Coach, I want to play football. The coach is like, yeah,
We'll take
please.
you.
Sounds good. At one point in high school, his parents were working so hard, whatever, him and his brother decided they have to make money. He started selling crack cocaine.
Wow.
Just to make some money. He said, he was like in it. He was shooting at drug dealers. He was deep in the drug game. His football coach heard and was like, I don't think you understand how good you are at football. You could be a Sunday guy. You have to get it together. And he snitched on him to his mom.
Wow.
And his mom, she said she was screaming till she was blue in the face, and it worked. He listened. He stopped selling drugs, focuses on football. He ends up being the number 1 fullback and the number 2 linebacker his senior year in Detroit, in Michigan, in the state. So going into college, it was a question, obviously, on which position he was going to play. And do you have any guesses yet?
Yeah. Fullback, defense. Yeah, I'm not there yet.
He's, like I said, he's this bigger guy, chunky guy. He pulls up to USC and he's like, there's this guy sitting in the back of some Grand Wagoneer or whatever, and this guy's just shredded out of his mind. And he's like, who is that guy? This is on his visit when he's still a senior. And someone's like, oh, that's Junior Seau. And he's like, holy crap. That's how they make the linebackers here? Like, is that what D1 linebacker? He's like, this guy is shredded out of his mind. Veins everywhere, muscles everywhere. He's like, I can't play linebacker. If that's what the linebackers look like, I'm out. I'm a fullback. So his problem was he was a fullback, but back then fullbacks still ran.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I want to get touches. And he was basically down to USC and Notre Dame. Both were offering him contracts. And Lou Holtz, who's the famous coach of Notre Dame, he was like, look at my offensive scheme. It's built around, this was like the beginning of fullbacks being killed until, today where they're basically dead completely.
Yeah.
So he was like, if you look at my scheme, you'll see I still utilize the fullback completely. You'll get plenty of touches. You'll get plenty of carries. Come here. And he was like, you know what? I'm sold. I'm going to Notre Dame. He goes to Notre Dame as a freshman. He doesn't really do anything. He has 115 rush yards and a touchdown. He said that Coach Holtz made them, as freshmen, you had to take a test about the USC Notre Dame rivalry in order to be allowed to play in the game.
That's crazy.
Unless you passed the test, you weren't allowed because he was, he wanted to make sure that everyone understood the history. And it is interesting. Think about college rivalries are the biggest rivalries. They're the longest rivalries.
Yeah.
The first Ohio State-Michigan game was played in 1897.
Wow.
Yeah. Like before the NFL was even close to existence.
Yeah, these rivalries go way back.
And the players are still very bought into them. How do you do that? I mean, I guess that's one of the ways, right? You literally test them on it. You can't play unless you pass. Although nowadays, I don't know what would they do if like one of these elite freshmen, like you're not going to let Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, like you gotta let him play.
You're not going to let him play. He didn't pass the test. Or,
yeah, that wouldn't fly anymore. That guy would be in the portal immediately.
The other thing I will say, I think Coach Holtz was like, I'm not going to recruit. You get 2 years to prove yourself. I'm not recruiting another fullback. So if you can prove yourself in those 2 years, the job is yours. His sophomore season, he has 972 rushing yards, 190 receiving yards, and 20 touchdowns.
Wow, that's really good for especially for a fullback.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he was getting plenty of opportunities if he had 20 touchdowns. He had the record for rushing touchdowns until Jeremiah Love broke it.
Wow. So he held it for like 20 years.
He held it for a long time. Very long time. He said after a sophomore year already, people were telling him, all right, it's time for you to go to the NFL. And he was like, oh, I have no interest in going to the NFL. Not no interest, but he had always been thinking from the beginning, he was like, my plan is to just get a scholarship and graduate. Like he was viewing football as just an opportunity to go to college for free. He started playing in the first place for that reason. And now people are like, you can go to the NFL. He's like, I'm just trying to get my degree. I'm not even thinking about that. So he goes back his junior year. Another great season, 825 rushing yards, 239 receiving yards, 12 touchdowns. And he was planning on going back for senior year. And Lou Holtz was like, you're done.
I think I'm starting to have someone in mind.
All right. So Holtz cuts him off. He's like, you're going to be drafted very high in the first round. I'm not going to let you come back to college, which is, it's funny. That's like, did you ever watch the John Calipari 30 for 30 about his Kentucky teams?
No, but I know, I mean, he's the opposite where he is like, one and done's like.
Yeah, no, same idea, right?
Same idea, I guess. He's like, yeah, like you're coming here to go to the NBA. Like you're not going to be here for 4 years.
I think it was Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray said that he walked into his office after his freshman year. He was like, coach, I'm going back for a sophomore year. And he like pulled out his scholarship and ripped it up. He was like, all right, but you don't have a scholarship. He's seen too many players, stay the extra year. I mean, now I guess it's different with NIL, maybe. He had one player, maybe you'll remember who it is, maybe at Memphis, who got drafted very high and like within 2 seasons or something, had a career-ending injury. And basically it was like if he had stayed in college for those 2 years, he would have walked out with nothing. But because he went to the NBA, he had a couple million.
That kind of made his philosophy like go.
Yeah, get paid. Like it's an opportunity to have generational wealth for your family. You got to go. Okay, so do you want to guess now? We're getting into the combine.
So my original thought, you said fullback, Notre Dame, big guy. My immediate thought, and I'm not positive he went to Notre Dame, but I think he did. I think Jerome Bettis is Notre Dame running back or fullback.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, that's the only one I could think of. Big boy.
Yeah, I mean, how many running backs are there who are, like 240 pounds?
Yeah.
And big. Used to play linebacker. There's not a lot.
Right. When you hear fullback linebacker who became a running back, like that's Jerome Bettis right there.
So at the combine, I was looking for, I tried to find all the bench press reps. I couldn't find it. So either he didn't bench or they didn't record the data back then. But we'll never know if he did more bench press reps than Jay Cutler. Well, Jerome, if you're listening,
let us know.
Let us know. We'll tag you. Let us know. Did you or did you not bench? What was Cutler? 23? whatever. Let us know how many reps you got on the bench
What
press.
color had the most his year? Was that
He had more than all the linebackers, not the most,
linebackers?
but yeah, and he was like the only quarterback to bench because who does that?
Gotta think Jerome Bettis had more than that.
I don't know. If you benched, let us know. We'll
Let
tag
us
you.
know.
4.7 40-yard dash, which doesn't sound impressive.
For a big boy, that's
But-
really good.
And if you watch, I encourage everyone to watch Jerome Bettis highlights from, he slowed down a little bit when he was in the league. I mean, even the beginning of his career, you can watch. But if you watch his Notre Dame highlights, he was so fast. People that big are not supposed to be moving that fast.
All-time nickname Jerome Bettis, was it the bus?
The bus.
The bus.
Yeah. That happened when well, we'll get there.
So when he was younger, he wasn't the bus yet because he was a speedster.
No, I forgot he had a different nickname. I forgot what it was. Okay. We're going into the 1993 draft. The Rams are on the clock. And this is another one where I'm sure you have no image of him in a Rams uniform.
I love Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
Yeah, none at all.
So we'll get to that part. Obviously, that's going to be the trade. The Rams take him 10th overall in the 1993 NFL draft. Chuck Knox was the head coach at the time. And he was just like I'm going to run the ball a million times a game kind of guy. And he told Jerome, he was like, we're moving you to halfback. You know, fullback's dying. We're not drafting you 10th overall to be a fullback. You're going to be our halfback, which ends up, obviously making his career a thing. I can't imagine he would have survived as a fullback for very long. He gets paid 3-year, $4.6 million contract, $2 million signing bonus. That's what people used to go for in 1993. Although I guess, no, Vic was like 10 years later, whatever. Vic, he had to get like 12 million, but it probably went up a lot after that. So yeah, Chuck Knox, coach, he has this great run scheme. As a rookie, he finishes second in rushing behind Emmitt Smith. He has 1,429 yards.
As a rookie.
As a rookie.
It's unbelievable.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, Pro Bowler at the Pro Bowl. The other two Pro Bowl running backs are Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith. Wow. It's 3 of them holding down the fort. First team All-Pro, but the team goes 5-11. This is one of the funniest parts of this story to me. He's in LA with the Rams. This is when they were in LA before they came to St. Louis, whatever. So obviously, what's the first thing you buy after you get drafted?
Oh, you buy your parents a house.
Yeah.
Buy your mom a house.
He buys his parents a house. And after his rookie season, he's in LA. At first, someone was saying like they went out with him and he's massive in the scene. Like he goes to the clubs and Kareem's talking to him, whatever. Like he's famous. All the celebrities are coming up to him. I don't know what happens. Word gets back. He gets a call from his mom. This is like right after the season ends. He's probably been to the club like 2 or 3 times. This isn't deep into the off season. And his mom's like, all right, Jerome, what's the deal? When you're coming home? And he's like, oh, no, kind of wanted to stick around in LA for a little bit. And she's like, Jerome, when are you going to come home? And he's like, I don't know. Like, I think I'm going to hang out in LA. Hangs up with his mom. He said his dad calls him like 10 minutes later. He's like, all right, just tell me when you're getting a flight. It's got to be in like the next week or something. His mom was basically hearing these stories and she's like, absolutely not.
We got to get him out of there.
Yeah, he is not going to be going around LA, going to clubs, whatever. That's like not how this off season is going to play out. So he's like, I can't say no. He gets home to the home that he bought. His parents are like making him do chores. He's like, what's going on? I own this place. And they're like, no girls allowed.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, I own this house. How are you guys making rules?
So good.
But he's like 21, 22 years old. So hilarious.
It reminds me of during COVID. I think it was maybe during COVID or Joe Burrow was doing like an interview and he was back home, like back at his parents' house, and they're like, show us your room. And he had like Star Wars like bed made up.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point, I guess you got to just tell your kids, I'm not going to buy you like, I don't know, and a little, but at some point you got to get them new bedding.
Yeah.
It's great. Okay. I'm moving on. Second season, still with the Rams. Same coach. Chuck Knox is still the coach. 1,000 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, Pro Bowl, but team still stinks. So he's good. Team is bad. Third season, the team moves from LA to St. Louis, as we know. Going into training camp of the third season, he's like, I'm not playing anymore because he signed that 3-year, $4.6 million contract. And he was like, I've overperformed my rookie contract. I deserve more money. Which is a little crazy because now it's just locked in. That's not an option. No one does that. But I think it's because of this. Like, because there were situations like this and rookies, now it's just where that's the slot. You get drafted at that slot, you get paid.
Right.
There's guarantees though, right? Because there's always late, now it used to be first rounders were fully guaranteed. Now second rounders are fully guaranteed because someone was able to get it last year, whatever. So whatever. He decides, I want a new contract, doesn't come to training camp. It's a new coach now, and it's a more pass-oriented scheme. He drops all the way to 637 rush yards. He's completely out of the offense by the end. He was only getting 6 carries per game over the last 6 games. And he was like, I'm done. I'm done with football. I quit.
Wow.
I'm not going to play for Rich Brooks.
And think about that because, right, he doesn't get a new contract. So now, like, his value's kind of tanked a little bit because he didn't run that year so much.
Yeah, there must have been some option because he was, maybe not. I don't know, whatever. He still seems to be, like, the Rams still have the rights to him.
Well, I think it's 3 years and a team option, maybe? 4th year?
Yeah, but I don't know. Whatever. The Rams still have his rights going
Okay.
into the 4th season.
So
Whatever.
3 years in, the Rams still own him.
And he's like, I'm not playing for Rich Brooks, who was the coach at the time. He goes to Notre Dame. He enrolls in 18 credits. He's like, I'm not playing football again. He eventually does come back to Notre Dame and graduate. I don't think he got any of those credits that semester. But Brooks basically tells him, you can either move back to fullback or we're going to trade you. He's like, yeah, trade me. I'm not playing for you. The Rams' feeling was they're like, he's done. Like, he's cooked already. He's washed. We know running backs have short careers. I don't know how you're already deciding after. We thought Marshawn Lynch was bad in the last episode because he had the 2 1,000-yard seasons and then one bad season. And then he was in the middle of a second bad season. And they're like, we're done. This is one season, one bad season. And they're like, you're done. You can't play running back anymore. You got to switch to fullback. I don't know. Does that make any sense to you?
No, I mean, the only thing I can think of is that, like you're talking about, where at that time, right, they're kind of transitioning from, fullbacks are important to they're not really. And maybe they're like, you know what, he's not really a true running back. It's going to be a fullback, and that isn't worth that much.
I guess, yeah. They told him, they're like, you're not a game breaker. Like you can't break a big play, whatever. They decide they want to move on. So this is going into his 4th season. We're in the off season. It's the day of the 1996 NFL draft. The Rams really like this running back, Lawrence Phillips. And they think that, he's what they need in this new offense, pass-oriented. He's their fit. So they draft him, and now they're looking to shop Bettis, obviously. Or it was around the same time. They knew they were going to get him, whatever it was. Maybe they just picked him. The Steelers and the Oilers, who were about to become the Titans, are the 2 teams that are interested. The Steelers, for a couple reasons. Number one, their running back, Bam Morris, had just been arrested for having cocaine and weed in his car, and
Good old NFL.
they were done with him. I think they cut him. I think his career, he had a couple more years, but Steelers were done with him. And the Steelers played against Bettis as a rookie in week 2, and he kind of had a breakout against them. And since then, Cowher, was their coach at the time, was like, I love this guy.
I love stories like that where, a guy has a great game against one team, and then they're like, you know what, we like this guy.
Yeah. So Cowher played against him, and he was like, this guy is everything I want, and we got to get him. So the second he hears that he's on the trade block, he's like, make it happen. And the Steelers at the time they don't make trades. I mean, still, think about it. They're like, the organization builds through the draft. They draft them, they develop them, that's it. There's no trading. You don't just trade for guys. So the fact that they're trading, people are not happy about it. the Steelers end up receiving Jerome Bettis and a 3rd-round pick, and they give up a 2nd and a 4th. It's just interesting because the reaction at the time was like, the Steelers gave up way too much. People said, Bettis, he only has 1 season left on his contract. If he plays well, then we're not gonna be able to afford him. Like I was saying, this is not how the Steelers do things. They don't do trades. But it's a 2 for 2, you know? You're going down 1 round and you're basically trading Bettis, like, it seems like nothing to me.
Yeah.
This is all in hindsight.
And especially we're talking about, right, late 90s where running backs are worth that. It's not today giving up a 2nd rounder or 1st rounder. Like, running backs are worth 1st to 2nd rounders back then.
Yeah, and he went 10th overall again. He went 10th overall 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He's 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and 1 bad season, and all of a sudden, it's like, this guy's cooked. He's washed. He's never gonna be good again. We're done with him. It's just bizarre to me. So, whatever. The trade actually ends up being who everyone turns into. Steelers get Bettis, who obviously is very good for them. A 3rd-round pick, which turns into Steve Conley, who's a linebacker who's off the team after 2 seasons. The Rams get a 2nd-round pick, who turns into Ernie Conwell. He was their tight end 2 for 7 years, basically. Then he went to the Saints. He was seems like he was primarily a blocker because he was in the league for a long time and he didn't have great receiving numbers, but solid player. He had an 11-season career, 7 seasons on the Rams. And the 4th-round pick, they end up trading up a little bit, but it's still a 4th-rounder. The actual pick turns into this guy, Jerome Daniels, who is a left guard who played for 8 seasons. The Rams end up getting this guy, Ryan Tucker, who played 5 seasons with the Rams. He didn't start until his 4th, and then he started on the Browns for 7 seasons. So they end up getting 2 guys who had solid NFL careers, not necessarily with them the whole time, but 2 guys. But you give up Jerome Bettis, and Steve Conley was irrelevant. Fun fact, since the Oilers didn't get Bettis, do you know who they drafted?
What year is this?
1996.
Is that quarterback?
No, running back, because they didn't get Bettis.
Which running back? Yeah, I mean, it's not Chris Johnson. We're talking before then.
No, this is their the Titans' all-time leading rusher.
Who is it?
Eddie George.
Oh, Eddie George. Wow.
He had a great career also.
It's rare that you hear the Titans making a good decision.
Yeah, it worked out for them. I mean, probably wouldn't have made it. Eddie George was probably just as good as Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
He's just on a worse team. Okay. Moving into his Steelers career. First season, shockingly, turns out it had something to do with the offensive scheme and not him. First season on the Steelers, 1,400 rush yards, 11 touchdowns.
Wow.
Second season, 1,600 rush yards. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th season, all over 1,000 yards. So immediately after the trade, he goes for 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons on the Steelers.
It's unbelievable.
As a Ravens fan, all of this is very painful for me. All these memories. The problem, though, is that the Steelers aren't actually good at the time. They didn't have a quarterback. It was a whole disaster. They weren't doing well. I think he lost in 2 AFC championship games. Like, they had a couple seasons where they made it out, maybe in like 99 and 2003 or something. Whatever. 2004 season, who did they draft? Steelers quarterback.
Big Ben.
2003 NFL draft, I believe. They draft Ben Roethlisberger. And that season, they end up losing in the playoffs again. And he's old at the time. And Bettis is 32 years old. He's a running back. And he's like, all right, I'm done. That's it. The second the game ends, Ben Roethlisberger gives him a hug. And Ben Roethlisberger says, he's like, looking back on this, I never would have said it. But in the moment, he gives him a hug and he's like, if you come back for one more season, I'll win the Super Bowl for you.
What? That's crazy. A rookie quarterback. Oh, I love that.
Insane thing to say.
Crazy thing to say.
And Bettis is like, all right, I don't care. Like, this is crazy guy saying. So after the season, he tells everyone he's retiring. And you have to remember, he had those 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons. After that, he transitioned into a locker room guy. He wasn't on the field as much, but for the team, he was so important. They loved him. Everyone, like, after he told everyone he was retiring, they were crying. All these people have stories. Ben Roethlisberger said, first day, he's antsy, getting into the building, meeting Jerome Bettis, multiple time Pro Bowl or whatever, big player. He said, comes right up to him. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Jerome Bettis. Writes his number down in his notebook. Call me anytime. First interaction, Hines Ward, all these guys, like the whole team is just like, this guy taught me how to be a pro.
Wow.
And they're all devastated that he's retiring. He is in the Pro Bowl that year. He flies down, or wherever it was, probably in Hawaii at the time. He goes to the Pro Bowl, and people have had some time to calm down a little bit, and all the Steelers there start ripping on him. They're like, Jerome, the Super Bowl's in Detroit next year. Where you're from, your home. We're gonna go win the Super Bowl in Detroit, and you're not gonna be there. And he had already told his wife, like, I'm done, I'm retiring. And they're all just like giving him a hard time the whole weekend. And he's like, oh man, I didn't know it was in Detroit.
That's great.
He's like, oh God, I can't imagine. So they end up, it works. He changes his mind. He goes back to his wife and he's like, I think I want to play one more year. What do you think? And she's like, it sounds like you already made your mind up. So just do it. He goes back. He plays one more season. They have a great season. In the divisional round, they're playing against, one of these all-time Peyton Manning Colts teams. Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, Dallas Clark. The Steelers are giving it to them. They're up 14 in the first quarter. They go up 14-0. It's 14-3 at halftime. Bettis scores with 1 minute left in the third to go up 21-3. So it's like, all right, this game's done. In the fourth quarter, Peyton decides to show up. He throws a 50-yard bomb to Dallas Clark to make it 21-10. There's this crazy Troy Polamalu interception that wasn't an interception, apparently. It gets overturned on challenge. Peyton drives again. Big plays to Marv, who hasn't done anything. Reggie Wayne also has a big catch. Edgar and James touchdown. They go for 2. They get a penalty, so now it's 7 yards. Still get it. Beautiful play to Wayne in the corner of the end zone. Colts get the ball back with 2 minutes now. So it's 21-18. They get the ball back with 2 minutes. They go for it out. Turnover on downs. Fourth down was a sack. And now the Steelers have it at the 2-yard line. So what do? Give it to your closer. They hand it off to Jerome Bettis to close the game out. A Colts player hits him, puts his helmet right on the ball. You just see the ball flying up into the air. The Colts scoop it up, and they're running down the field. And the only one left, this is with like a minute left. The only one left is Ben Roethlisberger. And he's back there backpedaling, and he barely gets a hand on this guy, manages to trip him up. Saves it because that was walk-off touchdown to win. And he says, he's like, in that moment, he was like, this can't be how it ends for Jerome. Like, this can't be the end of his career.
It shows how much that like everyone loves Jerome Bettis and how much they loved him, like that he's thinking about him in those moments.
Yeah, he was like, this can't be how it ends. It can't end with him fumbling the game away. He brings him down. Payne puts together a great drive. They have almost a walk-off touchdown to Reggie Wayne. And then they have a 46-yard field goal to tie the game. Their kicker is Mike Vanderjacht, something like that. I don't know, some crazy last name. And I think at that time, up until that point, he was the most accurate kicker in the history of the NFL. Comes up there for a 46-yarder. He's missed like one field goal all year, and it goes so far right. He totally bombs on it. And the Steelers end up making it.
Steelers survive.
The Steelers survive. Bettis says before that play, he just like knelt down. He was like, God, if this is how you want my career to end, I'm at peace with it. And then the field goal goes wide, right?
That's awesome.
It's funny. I've had this conversation a lot ever since the Ravens devastatingly didn't make the playoffs. And I was saying the real difference, I don't know how much teams care about how accurate you are as a kicker. There's a baseline, right? You make 80% of your field goals. Beyond that point, it's really just clutch,
Yeah.
right? To me, the Ravens kicker, I mean, he was a rookie, so who knows? But if that happens multiple times, you're done.
Yeah.
And
And you could have great numbers, but if you miss the big ones, you miss a couple of those, people won't get over that.
when the Ravens had Billy Cundiff, who missed that
Yes.
34, 37-yard field goal, that was it. He was done after that. That's
Yeah,
when they
you can't overcome that.
They ended up getting Justin Tucker, and he was a great kicker.
And even this guy, what's his name?
Tyler Loop.
Loop. Who knows if he's going to overcome this?
Yeah.
You had a field goal to send your team to the playoffs. People don't overcome that so easily. If he comes and has a great year next year, maybe. But, he had to sit with this the whole offseason. It definitely weighs on you. And kickers, you could bomb a bunch of 60-yarder ones in first quarters of games. It's what do you do in the fourth quarter? What are you doing in overtime? Like, can you hit the big one?
Yeah. And I could be wrong, but I don't think Adam Vinatieri was the greatest regular season kicker of all time.
Right, like percentage-wise, he's not the GOAT, but he has so many big-time field goals.
Right. Whenever it mattered.
Yeah.
It wasn't a question. Like, you were never concerned sending him out on the field. It was like, all right, Vinny's in there. We know he's going to take care of business.
Yeah.
So
Tucker was like that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad. But, he was struggling at the end.
He was, yeah.
So this guy does not survive. I mean, he definitely wasn't on the Colts next year. Maybe he plays a couple more seasons. He was already older
I
anyways.
think after that, they go to Vinatieri.
Probably. Okay. So that was the divisional round. In the AFC Championship, smashed the Broncos 34-17. Go to the Super Bowl in Detroit. In the Super Bowl, they play against the Seahawks. 21-10.
Sean Alexander.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember this is one of the first Super Bowls I remember. And this is, 06?
Yeah.
So I was young, 7 years old. I remember a very controversial QB sneak for Big Ben. He had a QB sneak that they gave him a touchdown that was a little questionable. We'll have to go review the highlights. But if I remember correctly, there was a moment in the game, I think it was still a one-score game, and they went 4th and 1 at the goal line to either make it a 2-score game or to go up 7. And it was questionable whether or not he got in, but they gave it to him, and it wasn't able to overturn it.
That's funny. I watched the highlights to because the Colts thing, that was the big game in this whole run, but I have to, whatever. I'll sit with it. Everyone else, if you're curious, fact check that.
I vaguely remember. I think it was in that Super Bowl. We got to pull up the film. We'll dig into the film.
Yeah.
But a questionable QB sneak and in a big moment. And people were not rooting as much as people love Bettis. The Seahawks were a fan favorite. People did not like the big bad Steelers at that point.
No one likes the Steelers ever at that point. Now, no one likes them. It is what it is. Rewinding a tiny bit, going to Detroit, the whole team pulls up on the plane. You see them getting off the plane. They're all wearing Jerome Bettis Notre Dame jerseys.
Wow.
During the week, his parents hosted the entire team for dinner.
That's really cool.
The whole team pulls up, whatever, coach, everyone. The entire team pulls up to the house. His mom cooks for everyone. He, like I said, he wasn't really playing so much these years. He coached Willie Parker. He told Willie Parker, like, hey, you got to run this play. If you go like in and then out, whatever, you're going to break one. Willie Parker, 75-yard touchdown.
In the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl on the exact play that he had told him before the game. Like, I think if you do this, whatever, like you cut in there and then that, you're going to score a touchdown, 75-yard touchdown. Cowher gives him the last, puts him in at the end of the game to finish it off. He does. The bus stops in Detroit. His parents never missed a game. From high school throughout his entire NFL career.
In person.
They never missed a game in person.
Wow.
He was like, his whole family was there in Detroit. And it's just like the bookends of the story are so cool.
It's so great. I mean, that little tidbit that Ben Roethlisberger says to him, like, "Come back, I'll win one for you," and it's in Detroit.
Yeah. So Ben Roethlisberger tells him, there's audio of it when he's hugging him after the Super Bowl. He's like, "I told you I'd win one for you."
Wow.
Yeah. So very painful for me, obviously, as a Ravens fan, to have to relive all this. But great story. And yeah, I mean, what other? It's cool when these sports stories, happen this way, right? Like,
And it's so rare, I mean, in sports, but especially football, to end on your terms or to end on top, like, it's almost impossible. Like, you got Peyton did it,
yeah,
John Elway, I think maybe ended on top, but, like, people don't do that. You don't in the NFL, you don't end when you wanna end, you get kicked out of the league because 'cause you're not good enough anymore.
yeah, because you're greedy. You always stay a little bit too long.
But it's cool that Jerome Bettis was such a good locker room guy that part of the reason why, like, he was wanted so badly is because they just loved him.
Yeah, and it's crazy that he was so close to leaving.
Yeah.
He said that he almost when he told Cowher, he told him at the time, he was before anyone else. He was like, "Hey, coach, I think I'm gonna retire." And Cowher's like, "All right, like that's fine. Just think on it a little bit, maybe." And he was like, "Why would I think about it? Yeah, I know. I'm thinking about it. I know I'm gonna. This is what I want." And then he goes to the Pro Bowl.
Hanging out with the guys again.
Everyone's messing with him. Oh, we're gonna win the Super Bowl in Detroit. All of a sudden, it's very interesting. So yeah, I mean,
It's a great story. I mean, I didn't know that he started his career on the Rams.
yeah, I had no idea.
And it's so interesting, like, the Rams put him in a box, right? He's not a running back, he's a fullback, and he can't break deep ones, and he can't do this, so he doesn't fit. And then he goes and does 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and it just shows you gotta be open-minded, like, just because he doesn't look the way a normal running back looks or move the way, doesn't mean he can't be dominant.
Yeah, we see this all the time. I think it's an ego thing, right? Where a coaching staff or a GM staff, a coach, GM, whatever it is, they decide, they're like, I'm so good at my job. You know, it can't be me. It can't be my fault. That can't be the reason why this guy's not working. It's got to be his fault, right? What did the Giants do with Saquon? It can't be our fault that Saquon's not good. It can't have anything to do with us. So he's not worth that money. He's not good enough. Then he goes to the Eagles. All of a sudden, you know,
2,000 yards.
2,000-yard season. These things, it's just like we see it all the time. I mean, Sam Darnold's entire career is that story, right? People being like, it can't be our fault. It can't be our fault that he's bad. It's got to be his fault. He's bad.
I will say true Jet fans, at least a lot of us, blame the Jets. Like, that's why I have no hate for Sam Darnold. I was happy to see him win because I always felt like the Jets did him dirty. They brought him in with no talent around him, with bad coaching. Adam Gase was his like, he just had terrible coordinators, bad teams, no talent, and then shocking, they're not winning, and it's like, "Oh, it's the rookie quarterback's fault." And sure, he had some bad performances. I'm seeing Goat's game was rough, but the Jets did him dirty. And football especially, but fit matters so much, and a team that believes in you matters so much, and putting you in the right position matters so much. And then Bettis clearly, right, goes to the Steelers. It's the right position and a team that believes in you, and he's surrounded by talent. And look what happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's the fans, though. The fans are going to feel different. It's crazy how bad these organizations are able to be.
Yeah,
Like, how you're not able to realize these things. And even if, let's say the new coach comes in and he was like, you know what, we're not a running team. We're going a different direction. Then at least get value for him then.
that's a great point. Like if you're gonna be like, we're done with him. Hey, this dude ran 1,000 yards 2 out of his first 3 seasons. Maybe let's get a proven player.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, it's also right. Like, if the new coach would have just traded him instead of being like, he's like, I like a spread passing offense and have this massive running back who's clearly not going to fit. So just trade him the second you get there. Make that contingent on you accepting the job as coach, I guess. Like, if he's not going to fit, he's not going to fit. Don't even play him that season. You ended up benching him anyways. You could have gotten way more value if you
Right.
traded him in
Tanked his
early.
value and then got rid of him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess still, whatever. That reminds me that we haven't done the grades yet.
Yeah.
Where does this sit for you?
This one's a bad one to me. I mean, they didn't get anything out of it. You give the Steelers one of their all-time great running backs. I mean, is he a Hall of Famer, Jerome Bettis?
Yes.
So you give a Hall of Famer up for a bag of chips.
Yeah.
This is bad to me. I'm gonna go like a 7.8. Like this is just I don't see really it could be even worse. I don't see any like I don't even understand it completely. If you're gonna say, well, you know what, he doesn't fit our scheme, then where's the talent that you got back from him?
Yeah. I mean, they got a second round pick. They just didn't do much with it. They got a second and a fourth. They get drafted mediocre
But
players with it.
don't you think a guy who's had 2,000-yard seasons and he's 2 out of his first 3 seasons, can't we get a proven player? Something?
I mean, I would think that, yes, but think about Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
He went for a fourth and a fifth.
Yeah, I guess
But I guess he had off the field stuff more.
yeah, but these are both really bad traits.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, you're just giving away a Hall of Famer.
So what's your final number?
What did I say? I said 7.7?
7.6 maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever it was, now it's 7.7.
7.7. I think I'm a little bit lower. Because with all the, we're starting to learn how these things work, right? And a lot of the time, it's just that the organization is garbage,
I
and
mean, we're also learning that, and we're seeing that running backs is especially their value tanks pretty quick because they just don't have this long, career expectancy.
right, you assume that their career is over, even it might not be, but you assume it's done.
Yeah.
The second they have a bad season, you're like, that's it. They're slow. They lost a step. Whatever it is, their career is over. I mean, at least they didn't mortgage the farm. There's not like we're not looking at it wasn't a quarterback. At least it was a running back. I still don't think it's as bad as Marshawn Lynch. I'm gonna put it at a 6.5.
It's a good score.
I mean, they were terrible for years after that. Wasn't because of Jerome Bettis.
Right.
It's because they stayed for other reasons.
Right. They could have had him and still been bad. And even the Steelers, by the way, weren't great for the first few years of Jerome Bettis.
Yeah, and when they had him, they weren't good.
Right. I will say a little addition, just he turned into such a great locker room guy too.
Right.
That's something. Like you let a guy leave and sent him away who ended up being, first of all, great, and then also a great team guy. Who knows how different their team would have been if you have that kind of guy in your locker room.
That's true. Although I think the Steelers helped his character a lot. He says in LA he didn't care about anyone else. He just cared about himself because the team stunk.
Listen, the Steelers were very well run, and they are a very well run organization. They'd cower for 20 years and then Tomlin for 20 years. Like they're a very stable organization.
It's very stable. They're very well respected. Joey Porter Sr. was saying, I mean, just the way these players talk about him, like you're saying, it's remarkable. Like he was everything to them. They looked up to him. So Joey Porter Sr. was saying they get to the Super Bowl and he was one of the best players on the team at the time. His son now is a corner on the Steelers. Joey Porter Sr. was like, what do you do to repay a guy who's given you so much for the last, whatever it is, 8, 10 seasons, whatever? He's taught me how to be a pro. He's taught me how to be a man. He's so much. So he says, Jerome, you lead everyone out of the locker room.
Wow.
You lead everyone out of the tunnel. And what he does is, because it's in Detroit, it's in his hometown, Jerome goes and he holds everyone back. Gives him a moment, just like get hype in Detroit. It's just him. And he said he's looking back. Team's not with him, whatever. Joey Porter was like, I just want him to have that moment. Just him and the fans, the place explodes, whatever. And then 5 seconds later, the whole team comes out.
That's really cool. That's even those little things show how important he was.
Yeah, he meant everything to that team. Obviously, it wasn't his play on the field, that necessarily made them great, like you're saying. But I think that was so integral to them winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, having that kind of leadership.
Integral, however you say it. Because also just think about what everyone's saying, The Big Ben is like, I'm going to do it for you, right? He meant so much to them. They're crying in the locker room. And they're roasting him. "Oh, we're gonna win it in Detroit, and you're not gonna be there." You know, like all of this, I think, in the back of these guys' minds. Ben Roethlisberger, right? He's backpedaling, trying to tackle this guy, and that's what he's thinking about.
It's
He's like,
crazy.
I can't let Bettis' career end this way. The difference that makes, you know, that margin. You try 1% harder, you try 5% harder. You're like, if you're not gonna be able to do it for yourself, you do it for someone else.
Absolutely, and I always have felt when it gets to that level where, like, little tiny differences can be all the difference, chemistry over talent.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that little extra chemistry a team has where they really wanna do it for each other. That's sometimes what wins out.
And you can watch these it's like a home video of the whole team coming up to his parents. You know, they all come to his parents' house. Who does that? You know, think about how close that team is. Everyone pulling up to his parents' house.
Yeah,
They're
that's
all wearing his jersey coming off the plane. It's like, yeah, so painful for me, but
Titans, you screwed up.
No, the Titans,
Sorry, Rams, you messed up.
Titans actually, I mean, Oilers at the time for a year, but they actually made a good decision. Rams really screwed up. And I mean, the Rams were not known as a good franchise until McVay took over.
Yeah.
And who's their GM, he's great too.
Is it Les Snead? They're running a good organization now.
Now, but it took them a while. I mean, I don't know, maybe it was Sam Bradford. He was the first overall pick. He was never good.
Yeah, he wasn't.
So, whatever. Yeah, the Rams GM is Samuel Lester Snead.
Yeah, Les Snead, I got it.
Snead. So, anything else?
No, that's just interesting. I love hearing these stories, and especially when it's Hall of Famers and well known. So like hear the little things. He only played football to get it to get into college, and then he didn't even think he could make the NFL. Like I love hearing that. It's really cool
Right.
to hear these guys. Yeah, it's a great story.
Thank you for listening to The Trade Rewind. You can find us on social media at The Trade Rewind on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. If you enjoy listening to the show, the best thing you can do for us is to leave us a 5-star on Spotify and share the episode.